Hi, in this video, I want to talk to you about how to add multiple tranches of senior debt in any project finance model. For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Hediye. I made financial modeling my profession as well as my passion. And my aim here in YouTube is to make you a better financial modeler. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. Alright, so today I want to talk to you about how you can easily add multiple tranches of debt in any project finance model. This is actually part of my what I call lazy financial modeling techniques. And by lazy, as I mentioned in my post, and I'm going to put the link down below, by lazy, I mean you do things in a way so that you put the effort up front so that you don't suffer later. So that's our aim here. We want to kind of make the model in such a way so that if we are asked in future, in 1 month time, to add another tranche of debt, 5 more tranches of debt, we can do it easily with a couple of clicks. All right, so let's get started. So that's one of my typical models that I'm showing you here. So as you can see here, I usually, when I start in the first version that I send to any client, I always include at least 2 tranches of debt, okay? So, of course, at the beginning, you might not have already started the negotiation with the bank. So 1 tranche of debt might be sufficient. However, as you progress, you're going to contact different lenders. You're going to have different terms from them. Maybe the tenors are the same, but the interest rates are different. And some of them, the tenors are different. So there will be a need to add multiple tranches of debt. So for a start, I will already include 2 tranches of debt, but let's say that this is the case, that now we are at the stage where we have another senior lender that is coming into the picture, and we need to reflect the terms of the senior lender into our financial model. So that's what we are planning to do today. Okay, so the first thing I do, so when I was building this model, remember, I had this in mind that maybe in future I'm going to add more tranches of debt into this model. All right. So the first thing I do, we're going to go step by step. The first thing is to kind of somewhere in the input sheet, when we have the financing assumption, we're going to list all the tranches. So for example, I have senior debt 1 and senior debt 2. And what I always do in all my inputs is I also link the labels, right? So I give the flexibility to the user. You see, for all the CapEx item, OpEx item, they can customize it and change it. And this is going to be reflected to all the pages in the model, in the summary sheet, in the calculation sheets, and all of them. So here is the same. For example, at the beginning, I might not know who is going to be the senior debt 1, who's going to be the senior debt 2. But once I start negotiating, once I start signing contracts with different lenders, then maybe I can put their names into the financial model so that when they receive it, they will recognize it. That, okay, senior tranche 1 refers to this bank and the second one refers to the other bank. For example, if I put this one, just let's say Hedi Bank, Bank of Hediye, just as an example, and this one we're going to call it Bank of Chener. Okay, so we have these 2, as you can see here, because I changed this, and this one is linked to this inputs. So all of them are actually being updated, and because they are linked to this input, so I know that all these terms refer to Bank of Hediye. Okay, and the same thing now, because I changed it once here, now all of these terms reflect this is the Bank of Chener. Okay, so that's just a hint. So as we said, we list them here and we have the same terms here. So now let's say we want to add another tranche. So what I'm going to do here in the middle between the 2, I'm going to add another one. Okay, and I'm going to tell you later why I put it in the middle. I'm going to call it Bank of Novie. Okay, just random names, and I'm going to copy this so that I have the same. So I don't know if you're familiar with this style of inputs. I have different blog posts and videos on this issue. I call it one model approach. This is a way that is you reflect, different inputs here, and you can just switch in between these different inputs by using this switch. And this is going to help you to kind of reflect different scenarios in your models with a single switch. So you have only an index function and different columns. Okay, so if you're interested, I'm going to put the link and you can just go and look at that video after you're done with this one. Okay, so in this model, because I still don't have the maximum commitment from each of the lenders, they gave me an opinion. I have an idea, but I don't know exactly. It is not fixed, so it is still, I still have flexibility on changing the commitments of each of the lenders, so I can reflect them in percentages. And I have one which is a floating one, and this is the Bank of Chener. Okay, so I'm going to change, for example, let's say that this is 80 and this one is 20 and Chener is also 20. Okay, so this one is the active one now. So that's what you see here. Okay, so I have this Bank of Nobie. Now what I need to do, I need to copy the terms, right? I have to define the terms for the Bank of Nobie in my input sheet. So what I need to do is that I can come and copy. You see, it should be all like you have to put all the links so that you can easily just copy this and paste it here. Okay, so you have a new terms, and you only just come here and link this to that text, right? So remember that text here, Bank of Nobie, we just introduced it in the model. So now it's Bank of Nobie, and all of these terms should reflect the Bank of Nobie. So now we come and modify it. So let's say Nobie is saying that I can only give a 12-year tenor, 6 months post COD is my grace period. And based on these inputs, I know that January 2021 is when I'm going to first draw down on the debt. And I'm going to repay it 6 months after, meaning in December 2021. And in order to keep this 12 months maturity door-to-door tenor, I will have to finish repaying the debt in December 2032, right? I can also modify the interest rate based on the terms that I have. So I have now introduced in the input sheet a new tranche. So I'm done with the input side, right? So now we're going to go and look at how we can just calculate the repayment profile, the drawdown profile, the interest and everything, and the fees related to this new tranche we just introduced, which is the Bank of Nobie. Okay, I have a worksheet that I call financing. This worksheet contains all the everything that is related to financing. So meaning that it has the sources and uses of funds. Remember, it's a project finance deal. So we have this important statement, which is the sources and uses of fund. And so here in the beginning, I define all the cost items that need to be financed during construction, and then I add all the financing costs, meaning the interest during construction, upfront fee, commitment fees, and pre-funding of debt service reserve account, and any other financing fees that are payable during construction. And based on that, I get a total project cost. Now we need to decide how we're going to finance it. So that all depends on the type of financing that you are getting for this project. So for example, here I have contacted lenders, and they told me that they can finance up to 70% of the total project cost. So upfront, I can understand that the maximum senior debt that I can get is, because my total project cost is 9.2 million. Based on this gearing of 70%, I can get 6.2 million of 6.5 million of debts, and the remaining should come from the equity pockets, right? So I define here what I call the sources of funds. So I know how much equity I need and how I'm going to draw down on that equity, whether it's upfront, whether it's pro rata, however it is, or a percentage is upfront, the percentage is pro rata. So this is a different topics that we are not going to discuss here, but I think in this model everything is pro rata. But with the flexibility, I have this input here that enables me to kind of have 100% pro rata or 100% upfront. So that's another discussion. So as you can see here, I have in this financing sheet, I have a different section for each tranche. For example, for Bank of Hediye, I have all the timing flags, meaning the repayment flags, the interest payment flags, the interest calculation flags, and all of them I calculate them up front. Then I have basically the balance, the beginning balance, the drawdown, and the principal repayment, which is going to give me the ending balance, which I'm going to link it to my balance sheet. And then I need to do the calculation of the drawdown for each debt, the fees that are payable under each debt in each tranche, and the interest payment during construction and during operation separately, because during construction you need to go to the sources and uses of funds, and then it needs to kind of become part of the total project cost, and that's basically what causes the circular reference. Okay, so basically I have done it for both Bank of Shener and Bank of Hediye in this one. So remember, we just introduced this new bank, Bank of Nobiye. So we need to replicate the same calculations for Bank of Nobiye. Of course, we can start from scratch and it's not that much difficult. However, since we are using the lazy and productive kind of financial modeling techniques, so what we're going to do is that we're going to kind of make the links and make everything in such a way that with minimum effort, we can just copy one tranche and just change some of the inputs and basically get a new tranche. Okay, so what I need to do is now come and copy one of the tranches, either tranche 1 or tranche 2, either Bank of Shener or Bank of Nobiye. I'm going to come and copy all the calculations, all the module, and I'm going to paste it in between Bank of Hediye and Bank of Shener. Okay, so now as you can see, because I made the links in such a way that this is going to exactly replicate the same thing, Bank of Shener. So you see I don't get any errors or anything, or the calculations are okay, even as you can see, the labels are fine, they reflect the same Bank of Shener. So what I need to do is, the first step is to come and change this one. You see the label for this one, the heading for this one. I need to come and link it to this one that I just introduced, Bank of Nobiye. So as you can see, because all the labels are linked to this input here, now all of them are going to change. So what it remains now, because these assumptions here, they refer to Bank of Shener, because previously we didn't have Bank of Nobiye, right? So what I need to do is to come and make the right links, right? So I need to come for this one was the drawdown. So I need to come and the drawing start date for Bank of Nobiye, I need to come and input it here. These calculations are done, so they're all linked and everything is going to calculate automatically. So the first repayment for Bank of Nobiye, I'm going to come and copy it here as well. So this is done. And as you can see, the previous Bank of Shener had 12 months grace period. This one only has 6 months. And the last repayment, because this is a shorter tenor, this one is not going to be in it's going to be like in 2032, right? So all these flags are going to be calculated based on this assumption now. So I think in terms of the flags, we are fine. And as you can see, in terms of labels, they're all fine. And we need to go and repeat that for the following sections as well. So another input here is the percentage, that's a commitment from Bank of Nobiye, which is this one. This is defined in the input sheet, okay? So we are not going to care about the colors, but usually what I do is that I color code the inputs that are coming, or the whatever that is coming from another sheet in a different color. In this sheet it is green. So I'm going to put it here. Now it's going to calculate, you see, the drawdown for Nobiye. And I need to go and do the same thing for all the inputs, for the fees, for the interest and everything. And so that I am, so this, all the calculation refers to the terms of the tranche that we call the tranche of Nobiye. So I'm going to do that offline and I'm going to come back. Maybe I'm going to forward you. I don't know yet. I'm going to see when I edit the video, but I'm going to go and make all the links and we're going to come back and see the next steps. Okay, so I'm done. As you have seen, it was not very difficult. I didn't need to have, I didn't even need to put the video on pause to do it because I only needed to kind of make a couple of links, 3 links, interest rate, commitment fee, and upfront fee, and I am done. You know, I have a complete new tranche, which is now included in my financial model. Now what I need to do is I need to kind of make the link, make the right links and kind of put the this tranche in my financial statements and in the calculation of ratios and everything. In order to make my life easier, what I do is that at end of, so you have seen that I have this tranche number 1 here, then I have tranche number 2, and then I have tranche number 3. What I do here at the end, I include what I call a summary senior debt repayment. And maybe repayment is not the right term because I also include drawdown summary of just senior debt. Okay, and so what I do is that I come and I basically summarize everything related to debt for all the tranches. So now the only thing I need to do is to include this Bank of Nobie into the picture. Okay, so for example, this I've done it for you previously. So I just come and make the link to Nobie. Same thing for the interest during construction and for the fees. So let's do it together. I'm just going to change the view and unfreeze it. And I'm going to bring it this one to my Nobie tranche. Okay, so that's going to make it easier. Bank of Chener, it was Bank of Nobie, perfect. Okay, so the first one is we did for this one. For the fees, I have a summary, all the fees here, I guess. So that's the one in positive. Okay, so I just need to copy it across. Okay, so I'm going to copy this one across and it is done. Okay, so this is for the fees. I'm going to do for the interest during operation as well. This is during construction, during operation. Okay, I'm just going to copy it across. Okay, this one done. Then we are left with principal repayment. This is the last thing. And the principal repayment is here, so I'm just going to copy it across. And as you can see, now, okay, I'm just going to back to the view and I'm going to freeze my pan. Okay, so now you see that this principal repayment is going to consider the Bank of Nobie. Same thing for the interest and fees and everything. So I'm sorry, I unfreeze. I have to do it again. I did wrong. Excuse me. Okay, so that's the right. Okay, so now I'm going to freeze it. Okay, so you see we have done the links, so we should be fine. There are still some errors we need to see because you see I have this fail here in my master error check, and we will see. So you see the reason I told you I create the summary sheet because I'm not gonna, when I do the calculation for debt service cover ratio, I'm not going to put interest on senior tranche 1, interest on senior tranche 2, principal on I'm just going to put this one line interest payment. I'm just going to put this one line principal repayment. And if I add another tranche tomorrow and I follow the steps that we just did up to now, it should be fine. Okay, so these will be linked to the total, the sum total is going to be in the calculation, included in the calculation of debt service cover ratio. So we are not missing, you know, that in the calculation. Same thing for the financial statement. This is the cash flow waterfall. So cash flow available for debt service up to here. You see the senior debt drawdown already includes, it's coming from this financing sheet that we just created. So it already includes no BS and the new tranche that we just introduced. Same thing for the repayments, right? So these are coming from the summary and they already include this new tranche. So we should be fine. Hopefully then we might have to do a couple of more tweaks, but we're just gonna run the macro, and yes, we still need to do the checks. So as you can see, the balance sheet is not balancing. Okay, so that I think is because I didn't put, I just need to put I put them individually for the balance sheet, you know. So in the section of the balance sheet where we have the long-term liabilities, I put them separately. Sometimes it's useful to to see them separately. So the only thing I need to do is to come and make the link to this is Chenair. I'm going to come to the newly introduced tranche, which is no BA, and we're going to copy it across, and hopefully our balance sheet is going to balance. Okay, let's see. No. Okay, so balance sheet is not balancing yet. We need to check. So there are a couple of more things that we need to check. Yes, so you see that's a good example to show that why it is important, because you know, I mean, in a project finance model we don't do any ratio calculation based on the balance sheet, right? So some people they might even say that it's useless to include a balance sheet in your financial model, in a project finance model, which I don't think so. First of all, it's a statement that you need to include, because later you're going to update the model, and it's good to have it. Second of all is that balance sheet is a good way to also do a kind of mechanical check on the model. So sometimes when you're missing something, the balance sheet is going to pick it up. For example, here, as you can see, I have a mistake. Not a mistake, something is not linked. When I introduce this new tranche, something is not working and the balance sheet is not balancing. Okay, the cash flow waterfall is fine, P&L is fine, but this one is not. And I know the reason is this one. You see, somehow I didn't introduce this one. You see, this is for the P&L section. So P&L, I still have the individual interest rates. Either I can introduce NOBIE, or I'm going to make my life easier for future, because I might have to add some other tranches in future. So I'm going to come and include this interest during construction that I summarized it here instead of all the individual ones. I'm going to include it, and I'm going to delete this one. All right, so as you can see, we are fine. The balance sheet is balancing and everything else is working fine, and we are good to go. You see, so we are done. We have introduced a new tranche with basically, it's not going to even take you like 10 minutes if you do things right. It shouldn't take that long. So this way you can add like 5, 4, 6, whatever tranche of debt that you want. And I have come across models that I had to build like 11 tranches of debt, because their terms were different, and at some point you need to reflect all these differences in your financial models. Okay, I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and I hope that it was clear. And if you have any questions or anything, please come back to me. I'm going to put some links for you in the description, and I'm going to see you next time. If you want to learn how to build better financial models, check out my online course on financial model spreadsheet design at courses.finexmode.com.